Summers Xcorps Sweet Rides, and we like to be a little bit different. That's why we're doing a resto mod on a 79 Trans Am. No other show's doing it. Late model stuff being ignored. Why? I don't know. The cars are cool. They're becoming popular again. Hollywood even recognizes them. They're in shows now, TV shows. They're in videos even, rock videos. I mean, come on. Great body style. They're just a cool looking car. Come on. Who doesn't love smoking the Bandit being eastbound and down? And that's mine right there, the Bandit X project. Let's go check it out and see what's happening with it right here on Xcorps Sweet Rides. Scott Summers here. We're down at SoCal Paintworks checking on the Bandit X project. I got Bob with me, the owner. So Bob, looks like you got a lot of great cars around here. What's it like working here? Is it pretty fun?
Yeah, we have a lot of fun here. We do, as you can see, a large variety of vehicles. We're looking forward to doing late 70s cars. Probably is it's not that often we get a car that ends up running into late 70s or early 80s, but we're getting more of them.
Great. So we dropped the car off here, and tell us a little bit about what's happened to it so far.
Well, so far we've got it all stripped to bare metal. After it's stripped to bare metal and media blasted, we have to immediately put epoxy on it. Since you've seen the body, we've taken and gotten epoxy on it, like you see the store in front of us here. We've did some of the body work on some of the lighter areas of the vehicle. The quarters are in good shape, the roof, so we've got that done. And we left a door here that was in reasonably good shape, and we're going to kind of show you the steps that we go through to get the vehicle coated, basically.
Bob, looks like we've got some weird tools here. These special tools of the trade, then?
Yeah, actually they've been used for decades. And what we have here is a simple Vixen file, which work back and forth in a crosshatch motion through the panel, finds your highs and lows. You'll tap down your highs, and you'll pick or dolly up your drive up the lows with the dolly and then file it out. And where you can't gain access, you have a simple dent puller. It's nothing more than a knocker, a slide hammer that actually welds itself to the panel. You slide hammer the dent out, it shrinks the dent if you cool it quickly and keeps the panel tight. So for those areas where we can't run a bullseye pick in behind it to drive up those lows, or dolly up behind it to drive up those lows and then file it, we have the dent puller. It's two pieces of equipment we use pretty much throughout the day.
So Bob, this is a interesting tool here. Is this that bull pick you were talking about?
Right, it's a simple bullseye pick, and the way it works is you place the half round area of the plate over the low spot area and simply pick it up from the backside. It allows you to find the direct center of that low spot, especially when you're reaching out a foot or two, and you can get in there and simply pick up those low areas. And once you've found the low areas like you see here, once they're picked up, you'd run a file over it. That shows it picked up that one okay. Now there's a couple left, so we'll go ahead and repeat the procedure.
Special tools of the trade to do the restoration right. Stick around, we got more Xcorps Sweet Rides coming up. Got a project you're working on and you've got some questions you need answered? Go to SoCalPaintworks.com. You can email them or give them a call. They'll help you in any way that they can with all your restoration questions. So what's the purpose of taking the car all the way down to bare metal?
Well, what we're trying to achieve is a good, solid foundation. Just like you're building a house or a building, you want to start with a foundation that's rock solid. In this case, bare metal. After we get it to bare metal, we put epoxy on it. It's a great adhesion promoter. It's a good way of sealing that metal up so that now we can work on it, smooth the metal, and do our finish work.
So it's pretty important that if somebody's taking their car to have it restored, that they make sure it gets stripped down to bare metal?
Well, it really doesn't make any sense to put a new paint job over a 40-year-old car if you think about it that way. It would be like putting a carpet over a cracked slab. You still have the problem of the cracked slab. And it's no different when you have cracked or broken down paint no matter how good your primer is, how good your coating is, the holdback potential isn't there to really make a good job.
So we're here with Bob Lubke, the owner of SoCal Paintworks, talking about media blasting. Bob, tell us a little bit about the media blasting and why you shouldn't blast the whole car.
Well, the problem with blasting the hoods and deck lids especially, any large panel, is media comes out of those tips about 300 miles an hour. So it develops a lot of heat. If you ever watch someone sandblast at night, it's like they're waving a torch over the metal. That problem with that is it work hardens the metal, it warps the metal, it creates all kinds of problems. So you're better off hand stripping the panels that you can, save your media blasting for the jambs, floors, firewalls, the heavier areas, the frames and things like that.
So we rolled the Bandit X project off the trailer. It's been through hand stripping, it's been to the media blaster, it's been through the epoxy primer, it's got the high build primer on it now. Bob, where does it go from here?
Okay, so from the epoxy, we've seen it get metal straightened. We've addressed the lead seams, which were actually in pretty good shape. So we went inside the jam areas, some uneven metal work and stuff. We've addressed that and smoothed it. We've welded. We did all our finish smoothing. The door fits correct. The deck lid fits really good. The rear body panel, we had a few issues with that. That's been taken care of. So the next step now is to rehang the doors, deck lid, and start blocking.
So I know on some of these Trans Ams, being a T-top car, these things have sometimes a problem area up in this area, don't they?
Well, one of the issues with the early T-top cars is that if a vehicle's been hit in the rear, which this one hasn't, but often is the case when they are hit in the rear, you get a buckle around the T-tops. By putting a T-top in a car, you're taking out the gutter, the roof rail area. That's taking a lot of strength out of the car. So what they did is they put bracing in here. And by putting that bracing in, they folded the roof over on the edges, and what you see is a change of direction. So oftentimes you'll see a kind of a low area or a kind of a high spot in the middle between them, and that's because you have a compound curve and then you have a 90, and what happens is you're simply seeing that change of direction. So what we did is we dollied down that high spot a little bit and then just dressed it around both sides and smoothed it out so that you don't see that transition so obviously.
And these are points you're only going to see right here on Xcorps' Sweet Ride, so stick around. Hey Bob, for a guy that's out there on a budget, what can he do to help prep the car before he brings it in?
Well, a lot of customers ask me what can be done or what can they do to get the job started. Father and son teams are going to work on the car a bit themselves. They want it done right, but they want to save a little money going in maybe, just trying to keep things within their budget. I always recommend the best thing you can do is detrim the vehicle yourself. You don't need to take the deck lid off or the doors off or the front end off or anything like that, but what is nice, if you can remove the bumpers yourself, remove the trim yourself. It's important to bag every single screw, washer, broken or otherwise. Put everything in a Ziploc bag, mark it for where it goes, and make sure that you keep track of all that stuff. Some of this stuff is really hard to come by. So detrimming the vehicle is probably the single best thing you can do to save some money going in.
So for more tips on how to do your restoration, stick around because we got more sweet rides coming up.